Why is the Citizenship Amendment Act called bigotry by law? Can state governments refuse to implement CAA now? While the Citizenship Amendment Act has been implemented by the Modi government, these questions regarding it continue to persist. Let me explain. I'm Pooja Prasanna, and every week I pick one issue and dive deep into it so that you don't have to. Become a paid TNM subscriber and support our work, because if you don't, we cannot be here continuing to be independent, and you will just get cheerleaders instead of journalists. Now let's get straight into it. Why is the Citizenship Amendment Act called bigotry by law? The Citizenship Amendment Act, or the CAA, was enacted in India in December 2019. It's a law that offers fast-track citizenship to certain religious migrants from Pakistan, Afghanistan and Bangladesh who've entered India before December 31, 2014. This means Hindus, Sikhs, Buddhists, Jains, Parsis and Christians from these countries can apply for Indian citizenship if they face persecution in their home countries. I'm sure you remember the widespread opposition to CAA in 2020 by opposition parties, by civil society and by common citizens. Let me recount why there was so much uproar over CAA. Firstly, it explicitly excludes Muslims and many other religious minorities from its purview. This has led to allegations of discrimination and violates India's secular principles. Now imagine this. You're a doctor in a hospital. Two patients come to you seeking treatment. You ask them what faith they belong to. One of them is a Hindu and the other belongs to a different faith. You decide to treat only the Hindu patient and tell the other patient that they either have to wait indefinitely or that there are other doctors who could treat them somewhere else. It's based on this line that the CAA was formulated. And much like how doctors cannot do this based on the Hippocratic Oath, nations also should not do this to those seeking refuge. The selection of three countries, Pakistan, Bangladesh and Afghanistan, is arbitrary at best and malicious at worst. There's no clarity on why these three countries were chosen and why only a certain number of religions were chosen. For example, the CAA does not address the issue of Sri Lankan Tamil refugees who sought refuge in India for many decades now. Incidentally, many of them are Hindus. Nor does it help Rohingyas, arguably the largest group of stateless people seeking refuge in the recent years. Ahmadiyas in Pakistan, who've also been facing persecution on religious grounds, are not included. Nor are the Hazaras in Afghanistan or the Shias from Pakistan or Bangladesh. Now, there's no data to show that Hindus or Christians in these countries face more persecution than, say, Shias or Hazaras. In reality, CAA can benefit only a few thousand refugees. But what it can do is further BJP's majoritarian nationalism. This perhaps is why the BJP has spent so much political capital on this project. The bigotry is undeniable, and it's a body blow to the founding ideals of India. The second reason why it's problematic is the coupling of CAA with NRC, the National Register of Citizens.
आप chronology समझ लीजिए.
The NRC aims to identify illegal immigrants in India, and if implemented without proper safeguards, it could potentially target many citizens, particularly Muslims. Presently, citizenship under the Citizenship Act can be obtained through 5 avenues in India: birth, descent, registration, naturalization, and incorporation of territory into India. But in practice, it's not as simple. Only birth certificates and passports are considered proof of birth in India, and many in rural areas, even in urban pockets, don't have either. This applies across religions. So in effect, if you are a citizen but don't have either of the documents, then NRC could deem you not a citizen. And because of Muslim exclusion in CAA, your path to getting citizenship is all the more tougher. One argument the supporters of CAA make is that the no discrimination policy in our constitution extends only to citizens of India. The applications under CAA come before one becomes a citizen. So Article 15 does not apply here. Under Article 15, the Constitution guarantees various rights to its citizens, including no discrimination on account of religion, race, caste, or place of birth. But there is something the CAA clearly violates. On March 27, 1979, India ratified the International Covenant on Economic, Social and Cultural Rights. Article 26 of the Convention says that all persons, not just citizens, but all persons are equal before the law and are entitled without any discrimination to equal protection of the law. India now cannot unilaterally rescind from the pact without the consent of the other signatory countries. Also, any signatory country now can sue India, even in an Indian court. Now to the next question. Do state governments have a say in the implementation of CAA? Kerala Chief Minister Pinarayi Vijayan and Tamil Nadu Chief Minister M.K. Stalin have declared that they will not implement CAA in their respective states. Assemblies of both these states, Kerala and Tamil Nadu, have also passed resolutions against CAA. But do states have the power to not implement a law passed by Parliament and notified by the Union government? No. You and I, as private citizens, have the right to civil disobedience, but constitutionally elected governments do not. The implementing body for CAA, as per the latest notification, doesn't have any representatives from state governments except as invitees. This has further stripped away the state's involvement. The Parliament entrusts certain mandatory functions even on state government employees. So the state governments cannot disallow their employees from carrying out CAA functions now. So the powers of the union government supersedes in this case. So what are the options in front of the states? The state governments can go to court against CAA. Advocate S. Prasanna says state governments have the option of filing an original suit. He adds that currently there are over 400 suits questioning the CAA that is being heard by the Supreme Court. But there's no stay. So state governments legally right now have no option but to implement CAA. In this case, since citizenship is a union subject and CAA has been a gazetted law, the state governments have very little option. History has taught us that just because something is legal, it does not mean that it's not immoral. So in this case, CAA is blatantly, unapologetically bigotry by law. We can look at it legally what it means, but I want to know what you think of CAA. Do you think it's discriminatory? Do you think that Muslims and others who have been protesting in large numbers have a valid fear that the union government and supporters of CAA are ignoring? Do tell me. The electoral bonds data is public and we're all very excited to see what this data will really reveal. We have in fact one segment ahead of the Lok Sabha elections called the ballot box, where we are tracing the money used in elections. If you think it's a worthy cause, if it's something that you want us to cover, do consider supporting us. You can log on to our website and see how you can do that. But if there is something else that you want to support us, we have several verticals. You can consider supporting independent coverage of Lok Sabha elections by contributing to any of our funds. That's it from me for this week. Tell me what you thought of the show, tell me what you liked, tell me what you didn't like, and also tell me what you want me to take up in my next episode. Make sure you drop those comments. And also come back next Friday for a new episode of Let Me Explain.